Hello, everyone. Welcome to our challenge 3 or third challenge. It's called Surface Investigation. And I didn't create this project. I've got it from another teacher who teaches ceramics in California. And I love this project. In fact, I think I am going to continue with this once we're out of shelter in place. So next year, I think this is a really good way to introduce textures and get you to think about how to uh, play around with the surfaces of your clay projects. But we're not working with clay, so we have to find other ways to learn some of the same things, but in a different way, right? So this one is about searching for surfaces with thumbnail frames. And thumbnail frames are, let me skip ahead, are basically little windows in paper. It's a term we use in art forever. And so if you ever take a college art class, probably one of your first projects will be to create thumbnail drawings where you cut a little window out of a piece of paper and then you hold it up and whatever you see, that's what you draw. Um, or you lay it down on a magazine and then you draw whatever's in the magazine. And if you hear any noise, it's my little dog. He's walking around and kind of sniffing out my studio space. Okay, so the purpose of this assignment is really for you to start using your eyes better, to really see. And those of you who did the color wheel project and found a ton of objects that worked for the colors, you can see. Because if you really take a moment to look around your house, if you really pay attention, it's some kind of connection in your brain, you will start to notice, hey, there's blue in that, and there's red in that. And that's what I want you to figure out with textures. All right. Those of you who didn't come up with that many objects, it's not because you don't have those colors in your house. It's because you didn't really investigate or you just don't quite see it yet. And it just takes time. You have to kind of reprogram your brain to pay attention to details. And that's what art has done for me. So, I mean, I'm sure that in high school, if I had been given that assignment, I might have had a limited palette. But through the years of really paying attention to what I'm drawing or making out of clay, I have been able to teach myself to search deeper in what my eyes are seeing. So next slide. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a piece of paper and you're going to fold it in half. I don't care which direction you fold it in half because it's going to determine whether you have a short or tall piece. And I'm going to go quickly through this because I really want to show you, I mean, my main focus for this video is to tackle some questions that I know you're going to have, but also to talk about how do you put this into Google Classrooms. Right. So you fold your paper in half, you draw out your silhouette. You notice in the picture, it's half a silhouette. And then you are going to cut out your vase shape. And you want to keep your paper still folded in half. I'll show you my examples in a second. This is what it's going to look like. Right. And this is now going to be your thumbnail. You can use cardboard. Cardboard is great if you're going to try to take pictures without holding it up. But here's what I have to say about using cardboard. You're going to need a box cutter. And of course, you need your parents' permission to do that. So I don't want anybody just to grab a box cutter and start cutting out, some vase shape. And you can see from the instructions on how to do it. So just read it over. Also, make sure you have something underneath whatever you're cutting, because I really hate to hear from your parents that you've cut into your dining room table. Okay, don't do that. Please don't do that. All right. Let's see. We have more cardboard options. Cereal boxes work really well too. So if you are done with cereal or you take out the bag, you can cut the side and then use an X-Acto knife or a box cutter to cut into cereal boxes and cut out your vase shape. All right. So you guys are going to look for interesting textures and patterns. And so textures, how things look like they feel or actually feel, right? Patterns are really cool too because, I mean, yeah, I don't know, you guys, I have a lot of interesting patterns around me that you can't see at the moment that I could include in my pictures. So you might have to put something down on the floor and then put your thumbnail on it and really see what looks right. Okay. I want you to look for a lot of different textures and patterns and combine them. Maybe you have a tree texture combined with a woven blanket pattern. So you're going to be looking, and here's some examples that was already in the slideshow. I did not create these, but I really, really love them. So I especially like the stop sign. Very clever. Okay. So combining organic and natural textures with man-made ones. Getting really creative with the dog one. I would love to do that. I didn't do it in my example, so. Okay, playing around with the filters in your camera. I'm going to suggest that everything that you shoot, if you're using your camera in your phone, or if you're using a real camera, if you can correct it in the camera or on your phone beforehand, it's going to make this a lot easier. So straightening out the photo, because that's important. I don't want it to look all weird and wonky. It's not going to work very well. Playing around with filters, changing the light, even using some photo editing programs. I have Photoshop, so I can use that if I want to. But I checked out this one called Artisto, and it's pretty cool. So it's free. You can download it. I mean, you have to pay if you want to use some of their more intricate, advanced options. But for basic stuff, you can play around with it. It's kind of cool. Okay, what do I want you to do? After you make your thumbnails, multiple thumbnails, so I don't want you to just have one vase shape. I want you to come up with at least 3 different vase shapes. Then I want you to try to, I know it says one type of frame shape. That's the thumbnail. Yeah, do more than one. I want you to try man-made textures and patterns. I want you to combine them. I want you to look in nature. Go out in your backyard, see what you can find. Try changing the filters. The idea is that you're making a lot of pictures that you can choose from. And you're not turning in all these photos, though. So if you only did 3, I'm probably not going to know that you only did 3. But actually, I probably will know because you probably didn't push yourself very far, or, you know, it might, what I find is that as I'm working on a project, the more I practice, the better my pictures get. Right? That's why I have you guys come up with 3 brainstorm drawings versus just 1, because usually somewhere by the second one, maybe even the third one, my drawing is better or my ideas are more developed. Okay, so after you've collected your images, you're going to choose your favorite 3, and that is the minimum. All right, so above and beyond is what I like. You can make as many slides as you want. I'm going to show you what I have. So this is what I want each slide to look like. So if you only do 1, and you do the 3, the minimum that you're submitting, hopefully you took 10 pictures, then you're going to put them into the slide. If you want to submit 6, you could submit 6. If you want to submit 9, 12, you can. Just make sure they're really high quality, you know. And if you're using a Chromebook, if you're using a Chromebook, then you need to just do your best with taking a picture on the Chromebook. Okay. All right, so I am going to show you, move this over. Okay. So this is the the other Google Slides that is called Your Slide. This is what you're going to work from. So you're going to make a copy of it. And just so you remember, here, let me make this big. Come here, Riley. Come on, Bubs. Come on, get over here. Come here. Let me grab him because he is barking. Come here. Okay. All right, so back to this. You're going to go to File, Make a Copy, Entire Presentation. Unless you're just going to use one slide. If you are just going to use one slide, then you would click Selected Slides, but I'm going to do Entire Presentation. And then it says Copy of Your Slide. Go ahead and just put your name in it, okay? And so here we go. Woohoo! And then yes, okay. Just let it do its thing. All right. So now I can edit it. Now, because I'm the owner of this document, I can edit it. And you're going to put your name up here. Hard to do this one-handed. All right, that's all I have to do so far. I'm going to minimize this a little bit so that you can see where I'm pulling my images from. Now, you have a choice. You can just drag pictures into here, or you can do what's called inserts, and I think it's image. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to do both. I'm going to show you both. All right, so I'm going to pull this one over. All right, and it's flipping it for some reason. I don't know why it's doing that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink it down just a little bit so I can grab it a little bit better. He really wants to be petted now. And then I'm going to turn it. Woo! See if I can get it straight. There it is. You can tell if it's straight because it doesn't have the crooked lines at the top. All right, so I'm going to bring it over. And then, you know, I did not crop it in well on my phone. And I did this on purpose so you could see how to do it in the document itself or into the slideshow. All right, so I have that there. I'm going to double click on it, and then it's going to give me these black lines in the corner, and I'm going to pull those in to help do this. Now, if I shot this, I did that wrong. Control Z. Good. Oop, a little too close. I gotta be quicker because I don't have that much battery left on this. Oh, all right. So once I have that cropped in, I'm gonna make it a little bit larger so that I can see it. All right. Okay, so from here, I can change the, let me put you down. I can actually clean up my image a little bit or put some contrast in there. I'm gonna make this larger so you can see it. And I'm gonna go to, nope, hold on. Trying to remember. I just did this yesterday. Okay, slide, format, insert, view, tools, right? Okay, there it is. Okay, format options. All right, so I am going to adjust. I want it to be a little bit brighter. Not that bright, that's crazy. Yay. All right, and then I might play around with the contrast and see what I can get. My goal is to really make sure that it's three-dimensional, that so it brings up the lights and pushes some of the darks. I can even try to recolor it and see what I like. So, I mean, I'm not a big fan of that one. Or any of those, actually. Yeah, that's a no. It's too much. So I'm just going to go to no recolor. I like this one just fine. I mean, all these things you can play around with. So if you want to. right, there's a lot of options, but I want to show you how to insert another image. So I'm going to go to Insert Image, Upload from Computer, and it automatically wants to go to my downloads, but I'm going to go to Desktop because that's where I have these images. And I'm going to go through and pick one. So let's do this one. Okay. And what I'm looking for too is I'm looking for images that are the textures are different from each other. I don't want like 3 similar things, right? I want to actually show that, hey, I shot a bunch of different types of pictures. So I'm going to go through the same thing just really quickly, maybe not in the same order here. Ooh, I like that a lot. So it looks a lot more 3D, just playing around with it. And I'm going to crop it in a little. The reason I crop it in is because when I try to put a third one in there, I don't want the edges of the white to interfere with that. I'm going to move you over all the way to the edge. How about that? And I kind of want them the same size too, because it's like I want them to look like they're on the same table. So try to get them at the same level. And then I want to pull the corner just a little, I think. I'm gonna have to play around with that a little bit, but you can see how this one's a little crooked. That's okay. A little's fine, but I'm gonna show you what is not okay. All right. Oop, didn't mean to do that. There we go. All right, I'm gonna minimize it. So if I want to show you some pictures. If I take a picture and it's super crooked like this, I got to fix it in my phone. I can't fix it in Google Slides. Maybe you know how to, but I haven't been able to figure out how to like really position the picture perfectly. It'll want to tilt the whole thing, not just, I don't know how to describe it, but keep it straight in the frame. I like to do it on my phone. My phone is pretty easy on that. So what I was able to do on my phone was this one. So I'm just going to drag it over and go pull that down. Now, obviously, my did not color correct it very well, and it's a little crooked, just a little crooked. But I'm gonna actually crop it in a little bit. Because I want to make it a little larger. And then you notice how I clicked on the outside in order to kind of disengage that cropping. And I want it to look like it's on the same table, so I want it the same level. And that's almost there, maybe a tiny bit up. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to change the brightness and everything just to kind of, ooh, I like that a lot. I'm not a big fan of how yellow it is, but I don't know if I can change that. I mean, I could do something like that. That's kind of cool. All right. So I'm going to keep this. Now, to turn this in, you have to turn it into on Google Classrooms. You are just going to submit this in there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this slide from, I'm going to copy the slide and I'm going to put it into a class slideshow. And then we can see what everybody comes up with, right? So you're going to be able to see what your classmates were able to photograph. And please, it doesn't have to be nature. It can be, you can actually have people in it too. You know, I want you to just go out and look and explore and see what you can come up with. Just hold that thumbnail up and figure it out. Now, I do want to show you how to pull images from your phone. And I'm going to see if I can do this. I'm going to take this away. Let's see. Minimize this. And I'm going to actually stop presenting. Okay. All right. So hopefully this works. All right. I have an iPhone. And if you don't have an iPhone, you're just going to have to figure out how to do it on an Android. But I'm going to go to my photos. I've already taken a lot of pictures. And I'm going to pick one that is crooked and show you how to fix it in your phone. Don't like that at all. Here we see if I I can. What I love about the original, because I did this video earlier and I had a lot of issues with the sound, so fingers crossed this one's going to work. What I like about iPhones is that you can revert it to the original photo, because I already went through this before and it was fixed and I want to unfix it. Okay, so let's see. Yes, you can see my picture right here. Right, it's crooked. This is what happens when you don't use cardboard. And I am going to go to edit in the corner, which is right here. Click on edit. And then it's going to give me some options. So I have this lovely little, looks like a box in the corner. I'm going to click on the box because that's going to crop it. And then it automatically straightens it, which is so awesome. Right. Unfortunately, my thumbnail is so bent in the middle that it will never look completely straight. I learned this yesterday, but I'm going to go ahead and pull in the corners and try not to cut it off, and put in a little more. I'll show you the end result in a second. Yeah. So, like, looking at this, I don't like, there's a little bit of something at the bottom there where you can see the background. I would go reshoot this. This to me is not good enough because I know I can do better, and I just wasn't paying attention when I was shooting this picture. So if I really want to keep this, I would go reshoot it, or I would just pick a different picture, right? So I'm going to click done. And then just to see what it looks like, you can see the shadows are showing up. It's not great. But I'd go back to edit, because I want to show you how to do this. And I'm going to play around with the filters because I want to brighten it up a bit and see if I can get more texture. I kind of like the vivid one a lot. I use that filter a lot for things. And I can go in and play around with all the other things in there. So you guys probably very familiar with your phone. So whatever you can do. If you don't have access to a phone, then you can use your Chromebook. Now, I am going to email this to me because that works for me. I know some of you use Dropbox. You can even put it into your drive if you want from your phones, but it shows up faster, and I have less complications with being able to retrieve it if I just email it to myself. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and email it to myself. All right, and then you can pull the picture, right? You can download the picture from your email. Whatever you do, most of you know how to use your phone pretty well. Okay. So again, if you don't have a phone to work from and you're stuck with using the Chromebook, you're just going to have to get really creative. You're going to need some help. Someone's going to have to hold the thumbnail up, and then you just got to make sure their hands are not in the way. Although hands in the middle of a thumbnail would be pretty cool, right? And then let me just make sure. I'm going to go back to this. Okay, so if I wanted to, I could do the same thing on my next slide because I want to go above and beyond, and I have some really exciting pictures that I want to share. I mean, this really is a chance to do some cool stuff. I don't know. I mean, it's as limited as you make it, and it's exciting and creative as you make it. Right. So I hope you take this time and really explore like all the textures in your house. All right. So this is due on Friday. However, I'm not going to penalize your grade if you need to turn it in later. I just don't want to have to chase you down for the work. And please let me know if there's anything else you need to turn in late. But you got to understand that I set some time aside every single day to grade. And then I do a lot of grading on Saturday, which I said I wasn't going to do, but that's what I'm doing. I do a lot of grading on Saturday, and then I don't do it until I get more time again, until the next week. So if you don't want that 0 in there as a placeholder, you got to get it to me in time, really by Saturday morning. That's what I've been doing so far. It might change. Okay. All right. Stay safe out there, and until next week.